All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first Youth Entrepreneurship Power Hour of 2022. I hope everybody had a great holiday break with their family and loved ones. We want to be respectful of everyone's time, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and Holly will let people in from the waiting room as they pop on. So today we actually have an action-packed agenda, and we have some interactive sessions as well. So Holly, can you go help and pull up the thing, and we'll do a quick agenda review. Perfect. All right, so today we, first of all, my name is Jennifer Smith. For those of you, if this is your first time, I am the Youth Entrepreneurship Specialist for the Florida After School Network. I came on board in May of last year and been making huge strides with expanding the entrepreneurship ecosystem throughout Florida. And also on here, we have Miss Holly McPhail from FAN, who is our communications and so much more for FAN and keeps me grounded for sure. And then also today, you guys are going to be hearing from Mr. Leon Baxton, the CEO of Communities and Schools Jacksonville, and learn about a new initiative that's going to be getting started here in a few weeks. Also, that's not on the agenda, we have Chris Brignoli with NFTE, Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, who will be chiming in today as well. And then last but not least, we're going to end up taking a few minutes to go through our youth entrepreneurship survey. For those of you that have completed it, thank you. I've had tons of great meetings. And for those of you that haven't, we're going to give you a few minutes today to go ahead and fill it out. That way we can go ahead and get a meeting scheduled with you. And then last but not least, we're going to open it up, do a wrap up with some upcoming events. Our Holly will go ahead and share, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. So with that, next, Holly. All right, and without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Leon Baxton.
Well, thank you all for having me today. Just really excited. I'm going to share a little bit about communities and schools in Jacksonville overall, what we do, a little bit about what we do in the elementary and middle school, but then I really want to zoom in and focus on what we're doing in the area of high school and workforce development in partnership with the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. So we're very, very excited. Well, Communities and Schools has been around for about 32 years. All of our services take place in Duval County Public Schools. We're reaching about 7,000 students each year in the schools in grades K through 12. And our focus is mainly literacy, after school, and case management. With our after school and elementary sites, and we also do it during the summer. We have certified teachers with a ratio of 1 to 20, 5 days a week. We provide cultural enrichment, robotics, symphony, yoga, you name it. And I need some yoga too every now and then. Field trips, we provide snacks and a hot meal. And our major funders are the Kids Hope Alliance, which is the City of Jacksonville, Duval County Public Schools, and another new funder who I'll talk about a little later on, who's part of this partnership. What I'm really excited about is, Communities and Schools has done a great job as a dropout prevention program and keeping kids in school and eliminating the barriers, whether the students are homeless, whether they experience violence in their community, any of those things that get in the way of teaching. And we've had a great graduation rate of our high school seniors. But one of the things that we thought was important was how prepared are those students when they walk out of the high school? And that's where workforce development has been a focus of ours for the past 2 years. And we wanted to make sure that students who walked out had a multiple pathway to their career, whether it's through college or whether it's through a career or certification. And so all of our students in our after school program, which runs about 3 days a week for about 2 hours, are prepared and supported through ACT and SAT prep, college and career exploration, college tours, and field trips to manufacturers, which is very important. And I can tell you, manufacturers are looking for young people today and high school seniors that will pay for their college and pay for their training. Resume writing is important to them, mock interviews, and we provide stipends to our students. And the stipends are in the form of payment as if they're working. So we're very excited about this partnership and what's going on. But what I wanted to do is my good friend Jennifer Smith, who I've known for quite a while through her outstanding project, the Giving Project, the Giving Closet Project. And she approached me and said, Leon, we want to do something else with you. And one of the things that we were missing with our workforce development was entrepreneurship. All right. Yeah, we can get our students to go work for folks and do things. But we said, but what about teaching the students to run their own business and come up with their own ideas? And so Communities and Schools was targeted by FAN, the Florida After School Network, and received some funding through FAN for the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And back in December, our staff went through a training and they would not stop talking about the training, okay? The training was outstanding and they can't wait. So the next phase is to get into the work with the students. On my call here is Twyla Washington. She's our Director of Case Management and our after school program, which focuses in the high school area. Some of the challenges that we did see during the last 2 years is COVID, you know, and our work would have been even more meaningful had we been face-to-face. And when we started 2 years ago, we were face-to-face in front of our students and got a few field trips in, and then COVID kicked in. And so everything had to go virtual. But we adjusted and we had to bring in our speakers virtually. Some of the field trips were done virtually. And then COVID slowed down and we were getting back. We were just getting back to face-to-face, and then Omicron hit. And we were like, oh boy, here we go again. And so we're not giving up, but it's been a challenge for the students, but the students have been engaged. They love the speakers, they love exposure. But one of the things that I mentioned is important is the entrepreneurship piece and teaching students how to run their own business. It's how to come up with a business plan and all of those things. And so we are looking forward to getting the next phase of this is to getting the students involved with the entrepreneurship training. And we have a lot of different partners involved that'll be involved with us. Some of our partners that we have is, like I mentioned, Duval County Public Schools, Kids Hope Alliance, the Florida After School Network, thank you, and the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship, the Giving Closet Project with Jennifer Smith. And people say, well, how does that fit in? She provides the dress for success. When students go to their interviews and mock interviews, they need to wear a shirt and tie and have a portfolio. So Jennifer's program has been an outstanding partner in supporting us with that. We have partnerships with Coach. And I believe Jennifer has one too, which is great. Boeing, believe it or not, who are looking for workers. Local colleges that we work with, from UNF to JU to Ed Waters University to Florida State College. And some of the manufacturers that we've been meeting with have been Miller Electric, Stellar, and other manufacturers. So we're very excited about this entrepreneurship piece and the whole area of workforce development. And those who are listening know that this generation of next high school students are going to be the new workforce. And the workforce is changing now. So not only do we want to prepare kids to go into those multiple career paths, but we want them to also be trained to run their own business and be self-sufficient and make a dollar that they can, that's affordable to pay for their housing. So it's been an exciting partnership with the North Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship with FAN. I've been involved with FAN years ago. I've been with the agency 30 of its 32 years, and just excited about this work. So I guess I gave you guys a mouthful, but as you can see, I'm excited, and our students are excited about what we're doing in the area of entrepreneurship and workforce development. So I'll take any questions. If not, thank you for having me. And we will keep you posted, because once we get involved with the students, which is the next phase, we definitely have to come back and present and have some of the students present some of their projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Leon, very much. Yeah, I mean, since it's fresh, you guys have any questions for Leon?
I have a question. Have you considered working with students that are in the Department of Juvenile Justice custody that are in the Jacksonville area?
Most likely, we do that already. They're probably in our schools and on our after-school program. So that's something that we may be looking at a little more in depth, but I'm pretty sure some of those students may be in our programs. But you got to get them identified, and with confidentiality. But I'm pretty sure we've had some students in our programs who have had some kind of issue with the law. Whatever.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll reach out to you separately because we actually have 2 facilities in Jacksonville where the students live there. So there might be some opportunities to actually engage with the population that are in those facilities. They're there about 6 months or so.
Outstanding, outstanding.
I love that. Julie and somebody else, we do have a young lady in Jacksonville, Shayna Monique Carter, but she actually does some sort of youth entrepreneurship but what I need to do is definitely meet with you, because I definitely think that's something we should explore, especially for the kids who aren't in the school setting.
Right. Great. Thank you.
Any other questions for Leon? All right, Leon. So
Yes.
What is the time frame for, like, what is this going to look like? How do you envision this rolling out? How often? These are all the questions. I think a lot of people get scared with implementing something new. They look at it like this is just one more thing that you're adding to our plate. What do you envision for communities in schools for your after school programming?
Well, the nice part is it's a great fit when it comes to workforce development and entrepreneurship. So it will fit easily into our 3-day schedule. One of the days is workforce development, another day is ACT, SAT prep, and another day is health. We do some health issues with them as well. So the entrepreneurship will be part of that. So it's not going to be anything separate. It's going to be part of the whole workforce development. So it's going to be an easy fix. And actually, I think once I see the staff excited about it, I know the students will be excited about it as well. So it should be a easy thing. Yeah.
Yes. And one of the things that really got me excited about NFTE, there's so many programs and curricula out there. But one of the things that stood out to me with NFTE is that they had a train the trainer 2-day session where you take a deep dive into this biz camp. And I actually went through it myself with all the after school directors at the school. So we are going to be a handful of Title I middle and high schools in Jacksonville, Florida. But we've already gone through the training. It was very exciting, hands-on. And because if we're going to teach our youth how to think entrepreneurially, we as adults should probably also kind of have the same mindset. So very exciting. All right. Any other last questions for Leon?
So Jennifer, there's one question in the chat that is, how many weeks will the YE curriculum and program run for? And then I have kind of a follow-up question that I'll throw in there as well. For those interested in potentially being the next demonstration site for this YE curriculum, what's the commitment from them and what's the commitment from FAN?
Oh, okay. So for the after school, honestly, this is where FAN can come in and support. So there's 20 lessons total that lead up to the pitch competition. And so I've already met with Leon and his leadership team to kind of discuss like, where will this fit in? And so I know each lesson is supposed to be 45 minutes to an hour. So with 20 lessons, obviously it's going to be rather difficult to get through all 20 lessons. But this is where you can kind of go through, and we're actually going to go through the scope and sequence here shortly. It's all up to what you guys want to do. There's not one right way to do it. You can be flexible, it could be fluid. And honestly, 20 lessons, I think we're starting at the end of January, first week in February, and it's going to run all the way through May. So it could be 6 weeks, it could be 12 weeks, it could be whatever plan works for you.
And Jennifer, let me add that, we are looking at summer camps as well for our high school programs. And right now we have to wait because Duval County Public Schools, a lot of times they go under construction. So once that list is is out. I'm hoping that none of our schools are on that list, and we surely will be incorporating the entrepreneurship into the summer component as well. So I just wanted to make sure that I said that.
I love it.
Yeah. Twyla, did I miss anything? Because she's the real expert that I believe. Is she still on?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to say a few words real quick, Twyla, about the training? Because you were the one that came back all fired up. And
Oh yeah, it was so exciting. Like Jennifer said, she was on there as well on how it allowed us to think outside the box. And it was just simple scenarios, that everyday things that you would have probably like, oh my gosh. But to get the students start thinking about, how could I create a business out of this simple scenario? So again, it wasn't that time consuming. It wasn't like it's a extra burden, like Mr. Baxton said. It's actually is going to enhance what we're currently already doing in regards to career and college workforce development. So excellent program.
Awesome. What do you see as an after-school program? You know, we're the network, right? We're a connector, a convener, but what do you guys feel like is going to be the commitment of an after-school program? Or say if you were going to do another site, or you want this, what do you feel like your role would be?
oh,
Your commitment, what's your commitment level? You know, because our goal is to kind of go in and be hands-on and guide you, but say Fan takes a step back, not full step back, but, you know, comes in as needed. What do you think that commitment will look like from an after school or a new site wanting to start this? What will it take?
I don't think it will be a hard startup. Like you said, in regards to training a trainer, the 2 days was actually enough to actually facilitate a program. And so I do have a couple sites that are actually looking to implement it since we've come back after Christmas in regards to this. So they were looking at the workbooks and that kind of things, just to start getting those creativity flowing from those students, because you'd be amazed at how many ideas that these young people would come up with. I mean, I know my little brain was trying to come up with stuff as old as I am, but just to get them thinking outside of the box. A lot of them say, I want to be an entrepreneur, but what does it take to be an entrepreneur?
And I can say that as the CEO of Communities, and so we're very committed. We are going to replicate this in all of our high school programs. I can say that. And we're going to even go a little deeper down into our middle schools, because the earlier you start, the better. So I believe Brian was on as well with our middle school after school director as part of this as well. So we're very committed to this for the long run. And you guys put us on the path. So we're not letting this go. This is going to be exciting. It's part of our curriculum. It's part of what we do. So
We are so excited, Leon. All right.
Yes.
And I see there's another question. Was the deadline for DJJ programs to apply? I arrived a little late. Renee, it is never too late to apply. We could go ahead and get a meeting set up this afternoon, and I can help get you connected and get you started. Holly, were there any other questions on your end?
Nope, that's everything.
Okay.
Would you like me to pull up the?
Yes, please.
Perfect. All right, our next speaker.
And actually, this is where, we have Chris Brignoli on here, who is one of the regional directors for NFTE in South Florida. But I said, I want to give this a go. So what is NFTE? You know, because again, there are so many wonderful TA providers out there. It's hard to choose one. You have YEI, Young Entrepreneurship Institute. You have Venture Labs, Lemonade Day, you know, Next Gen Tech 360, and NFTE. So NFTE, yes, they're starting with communities and schools, but there are so many others out there that I would love to connect you with. But about the NFTE curriculum, one of the things that stood out to me being a former teacher is that they had rubrics for every lesson, or like the groups of modules that come together. That's huge. You know, when it comes to holding the youth accountable and making sure the expectations are clear and knowing what they are supposed to be doing, not even just for the youth, but for the teachers, for the parents, so they have a better understanding. Well, what exactly are you looking for? I see a lot of times people will tell the kids, but we all know that telling students something and then actually showing them and walking them through how they're going to be scored, what it is we're looking for, is so important. And it kind of takes the subjectivity out of judging and scoring. They have a beautiful teacher guide with supplemental resources. They have a whole pitch deck, different PowerPoints to use for every lesson. They have lesson plan templates with actual exit tickets and work plans for the students. It's stellar, to be quite honest. They have access to trained mentors, and I'm going to let Chris talk a little bit about that. And then last but not least, the trainer biz camp, guidance and support from FAN. And this is where I want you to know, even though we're the connector, FAN is going to be by your side the entire way. Because again, we know this could be scary, looked at as another thing to do. But when you start taking a deeper dive into why we are trying to raise more awareness about the importance of youth entrepreneurship, we don't have time to wait anymore. Like Leon said, our workforce is evolving so quickly. And I say this probably on every single one of our power hours. In 2030, 2 million new jobs need to be created because 50% of the jobs that exist today are going to become automated in the next few years. We should all be taking that seriously. So I'm going to go ahead. Chris, can you go ahead and talk about some other resources I might have missed?
So you did a fabulous job, by the way. Thank you for the amazing intro
Thank you.
of Nifty and myself. We also have two other staff members on the line right now with us. We have Daniel Williams, our program manager, and then we have our lead program associate, Victor Martinez, who can really touch upon some of the great incentives that we have for our teachers around volunteer engagement. So with the coaches, the mentors, the guest speakers, you name it, that's Victor's lobby, and he brings in some really quality business professionals to work with your students. But one of the things I really want to emphasize on is the support, right? So one of the things we do know as an organization that every model, every classroom, every organization, every school is totally different. Even though we have the same mission that we're driving towards, one of the things that we do know that it's about really helping the teachers identify how's the best fit for your classroom, your organization, your after school program. So we have online our team each and every day from Tuesday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then we're going to also start opening up for after school hours as well to you guys to help support anything that you have going on, right? So if you have a question about the curriculum, how to identify your target market, what is the core structure of this type of business, we have a team live and direct, ready to answer, ready to support. Or if you need some substance in your room to build the excitement amongst your students, we got a team behind you with that as well. One of the things I love to do personally, I've been with Nifty now almost 16 years. I love to connect and talk to our youth about taking their passions, their goals, their hobbies, and turning it into a business. I love sharing the story of the room that I'm sitting in, where my kids during COVID love to play with the remote control in the hand. I think it was my fault because I love video games as well. And speaking of kids, that's my daughter. Love video games as well. And I told them, if you're going to play a game, make sure you try to create a business around it. And that's exactly what they did. During the months of March to about July, they generated just about $40,000 playing video games and doing online streaming and so on and so forth, where they funded the room that I'm sitting in right now. So if anything, I'm sitting in their room. It's not my office, but it's their room that they designed and they developed. But once again, we're all about empowering our youth, identifying what they like the most, and identifying how do you translate that into business. I definitely want to pass the torch on to Victor really quick so he can talk a little bit about our volunteer side of things, and then Dan, you chime on in and give them some overall view about maybe the trainings that we do and then additional support certifications and everything else that comes along with it.
Thank you, Chris. So as Chris was saying, a lot of what we do also incorporates that professional experience into the students' curriculum and experience in building their own business. As part of that, we can bring in volunteers from different industries, different paths of life to really bring the curriculum into more of relatable experiences for the students. They can serve as guest speakers, as field trip hosts, even as coaches. So a lot of our students and teachers request coaches, one-on-one coaching sessions for their students, regardless of what their business can be. So for example, a student may be working on a bridal shop or 3D housing or opening up a veterinary medicine educational component. We work on along what the student is working on to find some of our volunteers that maybe have the same passion or have current or past experience within that industry that can go ahead and bring that experience into the student's business. So they're coaching one-on-one on a weekly, bi-weekly, daily basis, depending on the program, to really help them think bigger and outside of the box to how their business is different from maybe a competitor out in the workforce. And additionally, it really provides them with that empowerment to really work cohesively, not only with one another, but also looking at how can I develop positive working mentorship relationships with folks who have been there before or who have knowledge and network, a bigger network that they can connect me to other folks that can help me advance my business to the next level. So a lot of what we do is really connect those volunteer engagement opportunities with our students and our teachers to really elevate that curriculum to the next level and provide the students the best opportunity for them to be really competitive when it comes to our competition season. But also providing them with that guidance that if they want to pursue that business and opening up that business, that they have the resources to know and knowledge to know what does it take for me to create capital for my business? What does it mean, or what do I need to do to find that component of establishing a trademark or a copyright of what I'm doing, or patenting that project or that innovative idea or product that I created. So we provide them with those resources and guidance to our volunteer components. And our volunteers come from all places around the world as well and around the country. So those opportunities can be available virtual or in person, depending on what the student and the teacher would like for their curriculum and their program. So I'll pass it on to Daniel.
Thank you so very much, Victor. And I know a lot of what we are talking about is how we can use the programming that we provide and the classes that we offer, the resources that we offer to really empower young people as they go into the middle of the 21st century. I put it into the chat that the future is entrepreneurial. And I love the fact that Jennifer had brought up the fact about, roughly 50 to 60% of the jobs of the future don't exist now. And for 50% of the jobs that currently exist will largely be lost to automation over the next decade or so. And we're seeing that happening in real time, right? I mean, I was just in a classroom recently where I was talking to young people about the fact that between the last time I'd been there in about October and the time I returned in January, NFTs became a big thing. The metaverse became a big thing, where we're literally seeing this happening in real time. And part of the process of helping teachers and facilitators of the program really dig into making this work is not only the actual trainings that we do, so you have the 2-day train the trainer model, but we also offer continuing and ongoing professional development through our professional learning communities, or POCs, that we hold on a quarterly basis. So actually there's one coming up tomorrow. Every 4 months or so, we'll have a PD that actually goes over a specific aspect of the curriculum and something that teachers are asking questions about. Right now, we're having a lot of teachers start to ask questions about getting their young people prepared for competition season, which kicks off in April. So we're starting to, it sounds like it's 4 months down the road, but we're almost done with January already. And before you know it, it'll be April. So as we're kind of hitting that turn, that last curve, if you will, we're starting to see more teachers engage and come on board to really start to ask questions about how do I properly get my students engaged and prepared to take part in the competition season. Victor mentioned how important volunteerism is, and that is because there's some teachers who may not necessarily be fully through the curriculum, but will have students that are very interested in being a part of the competition, and they can leverage the volunteers, leverage our virtual office hours as an opportunity to continue to develop their plan a little bit ahead of the schedule that the class might be on. So there's a lot of ongoing professional development and training that we offer. The virtual office hours, I mean, today was a great example. We had probably 4 or 5 teachers on at the same time discussing different aspects. I had a teacher that was interested in coming on board, log in at the same time we're talking to a teacher who had 2 students that are working on a business idea, right? There's that continuing development and that continuing, we understand that you cannot train every single concept that a student might come up with. I can tell people that I've looked in my time with NFTE, a little bit shorter than Chris's. I've looked over 2,000 concepts and proposals and business plans from students. So I'm familiar with the process. But even with that said, from time to time, I struggle with understanding the business model and then helping them to refine their business model. So we offer that assistance and that support to continue to help students. It's not we train the trainer and now we wash our hands and walk away. It's we've trained the trainer, but we understand that there are going to be things that come up, situations that come up, circumstances that come up that will require a little bit of additional assistance. I will say that I think the secret sauce to the program is the volunteerism. I cannot overstate how important volunteerism is. I first encountered NFTE as a volunteer, so it's got a very, very special part in my heart, but also the ongoing support. I think those two things are really what makes the program not just come alive for the students, because that's the curriculum and the educator portion of it, but then also the support on the back end, knowing that if I have a question or if I have something that pops up that I'm not familiar with, I'm going to be supported about that. I will throw it back to Chris for any final thoughts or words. I will also be willing to take any questions if anyone has any questions.
I think we said it all. We gave you a 360 approach. You guys heard it actually first and foremost from people that went through our training. We told you a quick snapshot of our program, how we support the volunteer engagement side of things. Now the torch is back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Chris. No, that was great. I have a question. So, you know, Leon, as we roll this out in Northeast Florida, and Leon already has quite a few partners that want to get involved with this work. Yes, I know the directors and myself went through the training. Say we want to get Miller Electric and all of his partners engaged. What does that training look like? And maybe, you know, are there different trainings for if you wanted to become a judge, or are you interested in mentorship opportunities? What does that look like, and what would be the time frame to get them involved?
I'm telling you, listening to these three gentlemen, I am fired up, man. My wheels are already turning, you know. I'm thinking of my board members, you know, who are businesses, if a student wants to become a lawyer or what have you, you know, definitely. So the more I'm learning here, it makes sense. This reminds me a little bit, I don't know whether you guys are familiar with First Robotics, which is a robotics competition, and we had to bring partners in and experts to help the kids build their stuff. Well, entrepreneurship is the same thing, you know? So once we find out, I think the next step is, and I'm pretty sure Twyla is going to agree with me, is we want to go back and get with the students and find out what their interests are, what their projects are, okay? Once we do that, then we will find the connectors, you know, so, you know, from the business partners and everything. So this is really exciting. I can't tell you, you know, and like you said, one of the gentlemen said with automation and everything else kicking in, this is it. But definitely we have some great partners that are out there that will be more than willing to help out and do some mentoring and guest speaking. We've already been doing it, you know, so now we get to connect it. You know, the exciting thing is connected to a student who is interested in going, all right, now let's develop this, you know, let's develop that business plan, you know, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, when I look at everything these days, and some of you, I'm 60 years old, I'll be 61 in about 2 weeks. And, you know, I'm able to retire from my job. These jobs today, there ain't no retirement anymore. You better be able to have your own business so you're in control of your future and nobody else's. That's what entrepreneurship is. And we have to teach our kids, be self-sufficient and take care of yourself. So definitely the answer to your question is we're going to get a lot of partners involved with this. But now we go back. Now that the training is taking place, we go back, we introduce it to the students, we survey them and what are they interested in, and then you guys may get us connected, but we definitely have some local businesses that will get involved with us as well. So I would like, do you guys have anything from NFTE on some examples of, any video of some of the successes or what the competition is like or whatever? Just
Absolutely. And I did want to answer Jennifer's specific question. I know it's usually Victor's field, but there's always, depending on what the event is, there's always coaching for, training for the judges and the coaches to partake. And a lot of the times, especially when we first encounter and really, bring on someone who gets exposed to the work that we do, we find that they're interested, but they don't know what to expect. And then they've had that experience working with the young people. I will say this, it is an amazing thing to hear a young person speak about a business concept, speak about financials, and speak about the concept and the solution that their business provides with the bravado and confidence of somebody on Shark Tank. And this is a 17 or a 16 or 14-year-old having this conversation as if they are a mini mogul. It is always an amazing feeling as somebody who's been doing this work for a while to really witness. So Victor does hold, for different events, trainings to allow the volunteers to understand what they're walking into. Understand that these are kids still. At the end of the day, it's entrepreneurship, but they're still kids. So there are going to be some things they might not have the answers to, and some things that we're not asking them to do. And then as they start to get further and deeper in the weeds, now we start to introduce those additional concepts. So the goal is the earlier that we can allow young people to grow with entrepreneurial and the mindset, is the better we give them a chance to survive in a rapidly changing world. We're looking at every 10 years, things are shifting. About 40 to 50% of the jobs are shifting in about every decade. And what happens 2 decades from now when that becomes 5 years, right? So the old paradigm of give them a skill today and they'll work on that skill for the next 40, 50 years, that's shifting to where give them a mindset. I talk to young people, and this is my last point, but I talk to young people all the time, and I always say one of the most important things you can really develop to help you be successful is a lifelong love of learning. That one singular characteristic will give you the opportunity to continue to develop as things shift. You continue to learn, you remain flexible, and you continue to shift as well. So the more we give young people that opportunity and the earlier we start to train them around those mindset characteristics and domains, the more likely we give them a chance to be successful as we get through the 21st century.
I love all of this. This is amazing. Yes. Thank you, Daniel, Victor, Leon. What great dialogue today. I have a question before we move on. We're going to do a quick poll in a minute. What was my question? Leon. So as we continue to move forward, one of the things that we're going to be doing is we are going to be showcasing. I'm going to be out at the schools every Wednesday for those hours, working with the kids, working with the directors, and really getting a true glimpse of what's happening and the impact that it's making in your after school programs. I do know we have some other after school directors on this call and other TA provider partners. And, communities and schools is huge. And I've talked to other states, and one of the things that they've struggled with is getting the buy-in from communities and schools. So I think as we start to showcase the work that's happening, I think it would be great for you also to showcase the work that's happening with your colleagues around the country, and make some connections for some of the different states that are also launching youth entrepreneurship initiatives.
Absolutely. Because again, nationally, we're well known to dropout prevention. And I even been preaching about what does it look like when a student leaves high school. So entrepreneurship is going to be a big part of that. I'm part of the coalition of the other executive directors. We have a new national director who I will be sharing this with as well. So definitely it's something that can be replicated all over, It's that major part of workforce development. So definitely, Jennifer, as this thing grows, man, be prepared. It's going to take off. So definitely you have our support.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? All right. Holly, you want to go ahead and put the poll up for everybody?
Absolutely. So what's going to come up on the screen is as we are doing this demonstration project over in Jacksonville, maybe you want to get your feet wet a little bit. We've talked a lot about volunteer roles and what that might be. So we want to know for the folks that are on here, are you interested in serving as a volunteer, whether it's virtually or if you're in the Jacksonville area? And if you are, what type of role might you be interested in playing? Mentor, a pitch judge, fit me in somewhere, use me where you need me type of thing. So I'm gonna leave this open for about 30 more seconds and ask all of you guys to weigh in. I see them flowing in, right? We're gonna go for about 15 more seconds and then we'll close it up. About half of you have participated. I know that also includes Jennifer and I, and we probably haven't participated. All right. And with that, I'll go ahead and end the poll and just kind of show just where we're at. And it should pop up on the screen of sharing who's interested. So we've got a couple of mentors, judges, and just general volunteers that we're going to be sending your way, Leon, to help build out this opportunity for us. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jennifer. Oh, you're muted.
Can you put the PowerPoint back up? Thank you, Holly.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, next. All right, so what will the youth be doing? And what I did, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, I'm not going to read to you, but I wanted you to kind of see the scope and sequence of the lessons that are going to be taking place in just a few weeks. So the first lesson is Intro to Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And if you guys want to take about 20 seconds and read that. Okay. I mean, and this is kind of what we were talking about, you know, the wave of the future, innovation and entrepreneurship. What does that look like? And that's what it looks like. It means we're going to take some risks and we're going to do some things that might not be comfortable to us and push us out of our comfort zone. Lesson 2 is the entrepreneurial mindset. And I'll give you guys a few seconds to read that. Okay. Holly, next one. Lesson 3 is going to be the Lean Business Canvas. And there is actually a template that they have for this, and they have a few different models, ones that have some stuff more completed, guiding questions, or if you are working with more advanced youth where it doesn't give them as much guidance. So again, you know, we talk about differentiated instruction. This is amazing and definitely something that needs to be incorporated, in my opinion, in all entrepreneurship curriculum. Okay, next. Lesson 4, business ideas and opportunities. Balance between having passion for a business idea and not having opportunity in the market. Students going to be encouraged to use critical thinking skills to expand upon their business ideas. And I know we were saying, Liam, possibly waiting till the end, but this is definitely the time where I think it's very important to bring in our mentors for this, because one of the things that you'll see is there's a resource saying kind of like, what are the roadblocks for students? There's going to be some students that they're scared to think outside the box. You know, our education system is so linear and they're saying this is the way we do it. This is their time to be creative, to come up with ideas and understand that there might not be a right or wrong way for it. It's up to them. And I definitely think for a lot of the youth that we serve, we're going to need mentors to help the youth through this. Okay, next slide. Evaluating opportunities. Give you guys a second to read that.
I'm laughing about this one, Jennifer, just because I was thinking about the last one. I was like, ooh, understanding opportunities, having been through some of this curriculum with some of our other program providers before. I was like, do they really get opportunities? So I'm so glad to see that this is a huge piece of the curriculum.
Yeah, sorry. It's vital. I mean, it's such an important piece. As I go through the scope and sequence, it's really tough for me to say, oh, which lessons would I not include, or, you know, but because it's all so good. All right, next slide. And then last but not least, this is the rest. So the scope and sequence, you can see it goes up to 20 lessons. And they're broken down into buckets. So, lesson 6 and 7, you have testing the opportunity, then you have building a competitive edge, creating your biggest fans, making a profit. And then last but not least, the last few lessons lead up to the pitch challenge. And they do have several versions. Chris, really quick, what is the difference between the fast pitch competition and then the regular competition? Like, how many more lessons are there, or is it maybe it's actually just a longer pitch competition? The students are expected to do more.
So the fast pitch competition was designed to narrow it down to your top 5, right? It's a quicker process, because if you have, let's say, a class set or after school program of 30 students, and having each one to present within 7 minutes or less is going to be very lengthy in order to get that done. So what we designed was a fast pitch challenge to narrow it down to your top 5 students. Now, keep in mind, based on your timeline as a teacher or after school program, wherever you got to fit in at, it's based on what you have available to allow the students to present. Many of our teachers really practice the fact that they don't want to do the fast pitch. They want every student to pitch a full-length business plan. And what they do is they spread it out over the course of 2 to 3 days, bring in some virtual judges, to be able to help support them during that beginning process, and then wait to the very end to actually have a physical competition to narrow it down to your first place winner of that class, that school, that organization.
Very cool. This is so exciting. All right. Are there any questions about the curriculum? Oh, if you go back, Holly, really quick. The other thing too that's really cool. So after each set of lessons in each of the modules, they have a peer-to-peer review where the youth get to work together and kind of see where they're at and see what's working well, see if there's any changes. But okay, the fast pitch is 3 to 5 minutes. Awesome. So I don't know. I just think this is a really wonderful opportunity, and I'm excited to roll this out with communities and schools. Yeah. All right. Next. Okay.
So we just
Holly?
wanted to very quickly just talk about upcoming events before we take the slides down and you guys can have some open dialogue. We just like to keep all of our folks current to some of the work that's happening. For those of you who are involved in the public policy and advocacy arena, you should know that legislative session is in right now. It's happening as we're speaking. And one of our pillars at the Florida After School Network is to be engaged in the advocacy process to advance youth development, K through 12. It truly is starting with the little itty bitties and access to quality after school, as well as promoting and supporting that workforce and career college readiness efforts that all of you are engaged in. Children's Week is happening next week. If you're unfamiliar with this, it is when hundreds, if not close to 1,000 young people come and descend on the Capitol here in I'm based in Tallahassee. There's hands hanging everywhere. There's booths. There's opportunities to learn, and most importantly, legislators are opening their doors to have these conversations with visiting delegations. We're excited that we're going to be a part of that and have worked in partnership with the YMCA to host an advocacy training for young people on Monday afternoon, followed by a teen town hall, which unfortunately has to be virtual for one more year. That's happening on Tuesday morning of Children's Week. But if you're in Tallahassee next week, please stop by on Tuesday for our press conference on the Capitol steps starting at 11:45. And finally, if you're not familiar with Beyond School Hours, it's a national conference happening at the Caribe Royale in Orlando. And Jennifer is going to be presenting, along with some of our fabulous speakers here today, all about expanding youth entrepreneurship mindset here in Florida, and really learning and super excited to have our nifty partners be a part of that presentation as well. So if you have not already signed up to attend that conference, we want you to. We want to represent Florida since it is in our home state, and we're looking forward to seeing you there.
Thank you, Holly. And then last but not least, Youth Entrepreneurship Survey. You want to get involved and learn more about bringing programming to your site. again, if you've taken the survey, great. If you haven't, I do see there's a lot of new faces on here. Holly, could you copy and paste it and put it into the chat box? And then what we'll do, if while you're completing it, we'll give you time now. We do have about 10 minutes remaining. I think this would just be a great time to answer questions, talk with each other. If there's any connections that you want us to make, or anybody that wants to reach out to NFTE, yeah, let us know. Let's just chat for a few. And if you haven't done the survey, take a minute and do the survey. Thank you, Holly.
All right, since I haven't done enough talking, I just wanted to say that I am thankful and I appreciate FAN for being a part of the work that we're doing and being champions for the work that we're doing. And I also appreciate Leon being a tireless advocate of the work that we're doing as well. I will say that my experience is it's not just classroom work. Being able to do this work outside of the classroom yield significant benefits to just leaving it to the classroom work, because there's a bit of flexibility that you have outside of the traditional standards slash certification slash standardized testing environment that you don't necessarily have to deal with in an after school environment, which leads to a little bit more flexibility and also quite a bit more creativity with the students. We've done this as a summer camp model. We've done it with fifth graders as a summer camp model, and the same fifth graders that were resistant on day one. I saw a gentleman come in and literally do his entire presentation in one day because he missed some of the sessions, but he really wanted to be a part of the process. And they shared that with the teachers at the parents, and did the whole presentation. All of that to say, there is a lot that you get out of the students that sometimes they don't know that they have in themselves. And so we always say we're not giving them or putting anything in them. We're really just helping them to uncover what hidden talents they already have. And then I've started to refer to youth entrepreneurship as ownership of your labor. We're starting to teach them how to own the most valuable asset that they have, which is their time and their labor. What they choose to do with that once they go into the professional world is on them. But if we don't at least try to introduce it to them at an earlier age, send them into the professional world at a disadvantage.
And I could not say more. I could not agree with you more, Daniel. One of the biggest challenges that COVID threw at us was we couldn't get the kids off campus, man. Kids want to see, they want to feel, they want to touch. And we almost were there. So we're hoping that this COVID thing slows down, because yes, field trips will be a part of this. We got to get them out so they can see. And we've had the businesses, a couple of businesses already lined up and saying, we want to tour them. Boeing and, like I said, Miller Electric, these places where kids, when they see it and they can feel it, and they go, yes, I can do it. Boeing had entrepreneurs, young people, 20 years old as engineers, making six figures. I'm sitting there going, man, look at it. Where was this at when I was growing up, you know? So definitely, we have some dollars where we have field trip dollars built in. Just pray and keep your fingers crossed that we have bus drivers that can get them there. That's the key. The dollars are there, but there's a shortage of drivers. And so one of the things CIS will be working on down the line is trying to get a van that we can purchase, because the worst thing that we can ever do is not get the kids where they need to go because of transportation, not because the energy and the love is not there. So that's something we're working on. So thank you for touching on getting them off the campus, because they've been in front of them computers and people enough. So now is the time to touch it. So after this meeting, you know, I'm all fired up now, you know, so I'm gonna huddle with Twyla. She's probably shaking her head going. And then we have Mary Norman, who is also, you know, the guru, who is her assistant director, who actually ran this program. And we did a partnership with Medtronics a while back, and it was a competition and these kids had to present. So we're familiar with that, and we're gonna probably zoom in on a couple of our schools and really because the key to this, guys, and you all know it, is commitment from the staff and getting the students on board. So you got the commitment from me, you got the commitment from Twyla, I know we got it from Mary Norman, but hey, you guys have the resources, you're gonna help us along the way, so we're excited. So we'll be in touch with you on all of this. This is something, I can't wait, I have a board meeting in February, I can't wait to talk about this, you know. So,
Invite us on, man. We'll fill in whatever you need us to fill in.
I just may do that, Mitch, if I can get you some minutes, or even if it's if not this board, maybe the April board meeting or the June board meeting, because then we'll have something really to present. You understand? Because our board members are business people too. So, okay, so definitely, I am really, you guys are a godsend. That's all I can say. And Jennifer, my good friend, I don't know whether she sleeps, when she rests or whatever. The woman just keeps going like the Energizer Bunny and doing everything, you know, for kids. And that's what this is about. The ultimate goal is to prepare our youth to be self-sufficient, have their own business and their own ideas, and bring out the creativity that's in them, man. They're so gifted. And, you know, this entrepreneurship is going to do it. So definitely we're on board. 100%.
Love it. And, you know, before we get off, Leon, thank you so much, but none of this would even be possible. So we applied for a grant for entrepreneurship through the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation. So last year was the first year that we were awarded this bucket of money, which made this all possible to kind of expand the entrepreneurial mindset, purchase the NFTE licenses and curriculum for Jacksonville. But in addition, I just worked on a huge request for proposal for round 2, which is the next phase. We're moving from expanding to now advancing and building the ecosystem, which is huge. And I'm not sure if Liz Nuskin is still on here, but I do know that there is the consultant for Ohio is on here, and she's actually a year ahead of us and doing some phenomenal things in Ohio. Holly, maybe it might be worth resharing the article that came out about Liz and the work that's taking place in Ohio, because it was well written and just really gave a true picture of the impact that it's already making in other states. And then also on
Liz is here and she could come up to the stage. So
Liz, you want to talk for a second?
Hi, everybody. I'm Liz Nuskin, and I'm a consultant working with the Ohio After School Network to bring entrepreneur ed to out of school time spaces. And so, like Jennifer said, we've been working on this a little while. Actually, this is the beginning of our 4th year. So, Jennifer, what did you want me to respond to?
Okay, so as you are ahead of us, what are some words of wisdom you could give us as we really start this thing and start taking off? As you know, Jacksonville is going to be the model for replication in other cities. Any words of advice you could give us?
I think that's just a fabulous approach to really kind of do a concentrated partnership and build on that. So I love what you're doing. I think that's a great way to do it. We did a different approach. I think it's been challenging to roll it out during COVID. So hopefully it won't be quite as crazy for you guys. But I love the model that you've constructed.
Oh, thank you, Liz. And then
and
also,
I will jot that story from Ohio. It's in our Facebook group on the our Power Hour Clubhouse that we have linked to the Florida After School Network page. And you can find that article there, but I'll also send it out. So in the follow-up to this meeting, you can also access that direct link to the Mott story featuring Ohio.
I'm sure you know, but I am on my way to be finishing my 2nd round of Job 1 this weekend. We are going to be doing a huge Zoom room workout celebration between 6 and 10 a.m.
Jennifer, did we lose you?
oh, I'm here,
Oh,
sorry.
there you
Okay, where was that where, I'm sorry, it was hard to hear.
I think that was Carolyn. I don't know if she was sharing that out. Carolyn from the Figures Foundation.
Oh, maybe that wasn't for us.
I don't know.
I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't realize I had my audio on. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Totally fine, although it sounded interesting.
Awesome. Well, you guys, we are wrapping up and we are ending right on time. I cannot thank you enough for joining today. And honestly, stay tuned. Holly, next one, we could put it in the chat, but you will be getting a follow-up email from me. For those of you that completed the Youth Entrepreneurship Survey, you'll also be hearing from me. And you guys have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll be in touch soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.